Hello there, this is Alana Tuckey, and in this video or series of videos, I'm going to be going over the course syllabus for Math 133. In particular, I'm making this in fall 2015. However, if you're watching in a subsequent semester, it will be extremely similar. All right, so again, I said my name is Alana Tuckey. My office is in McDivitt Hall on Central Campus, and the room is 146, so it's right near the entrance exit on the south side of the building. My office phone number is 517-796-8580. However, a more convenient number for phone calls as well as texting and messaging would be my Google Voice number, which is 734-386-0523. You can text me there, you can call me there, you can leave messages there. If you are going to text me, make sure that you say who you are because I will get random texts from students and I have no idea, what class they're in, what they're asking about, etc. So be sure to let me know, in your first text who you are, and then of course I'll have a record of it from that point on. My email is tuckylanaj@jccmi.edu, which is a great way to get a hold of me. I'm a professor, which means I'm old, so that means that email is a big way for me to communicate. It's actually just a way that a lot of colleges and universities communicate amongst faculty and from faculty to students. So be prepared to check email. That's part of being a college student. A lot less texting and a lot more email. Now, our MyMathLab website is mymathlab.com. The course ID will be given to you in class, so you'll have to go to class to know what that course ID was. It'll be my last name, Tuckey, and then it'll be 5 numbers. So, and every semester it's different. So, and every course is different. So I'm teaching a couple different 133 classes this fall. Each one of them will have their own course ID. So just go to class and I will tell you what that ID is for your particular section, your particular semester. My office hours, I have a bit.ly link to get to them. So if you just type in bit.ly/schedule AJT, AJT standing for Alana Joy Tuckey, because my middle name was Joy, and it will get you to that schedule. Let me go pause and open up the Google Chrome so you can see it. There it is. It showed up on my other screen. So I will keep this current to whatever semester you're watching this in. So for the fall 2015, it pops up to the fall 2015. In winter 2016, it'll become that schedule. So there you go. And oh, just real quick, since I was on that, you can see the office hours are right there. These ones that are after class are sometimes in the classroom themselves, just because I'm talking to students for the half hour after class, that kind of thing. So just put that there. If you want to come into my office hours, that's great. I highly recommend it. It's best always to let me know either through text or through email that you plan on coming in. If you can, if you can't just show up, that's fine. But sometimes I'm in a meeting or I'm, gone to the mailroom, that kind of thing. And actually, that's another point. Don't be afraid to sit and wait for a little bit because I might be talking to my boss, I might be off talking to another professor, or I might not be actually in my physical office, but I'll be around, roaming around, going to the mailroom and making copies and stuff like that. So don't be afraid to wait a few minutes and I will show up. And you can always text me and say, hey, where are you? And I can say, hey, I'm in another building. I'll be right there, that kind of thing. All right, now for our course, you are required to buy a course pack, which is available in the bookstore. I don't know the price, but it's usually around $15 or so. And then MyMathLab student access. You will need to have access to MyMathLab. So let me pull up this again. So MyMathLab, which is where our online portion of our course is, will be in here, and you'll have to register as a student if you've never used MyMathLab before. And if you have used MyMathLab before, you can, I think you have to register your first time, or no, sign in, but then, oh, excuse me, you'll want to register as a student again, but you won't have to pay for the class again, possibly, if you've taken 133 before, perhaps. It depends on the textbook, it depends on the semester. So I have videos, I have videos for all of that. Sorry, I had to pause there for a second. If I go to youtube.com/TuckeyAlanaJ, you can see lots of my videos for the course up on that website. And I actually have videos for how to get started in MyMathLab as a student in here. So they'll be under the Math 133 playlist, as well as, they'll be under the online miscellaneous playlist. You can also just click the search button right there with the little magnifying glass, and you can type MyMathLab, enter, and you'll find MyMathLab Basic for Students. That's the old design. There you go, Getting Started, right there. Getting Started with MyMathLab. There's 2 of 2, and there's 1 of 2. So those 2 videos will show you, they're each about 4.5 minutes long. They'll show you as a student how to get in and get registered for MyMathLab, because you will need to for our course. The cost for MyMathLab, I should mention, is variable. So it depends on the textbook, it depends on the semester, etc. But you can pay for it when you go to register. And again, all of that is explained in those Getting Started videos. So go watch those and they will be most helpful. All right, so you'll also need a very large 3-ring binder, and I mean a few inches at least on the rings for that. And I recommend D-ring binders. They hold up better than the circular binders, just my personal opinion. But the large D-ring binders, because of course you have a very large course pack that has to fit into this binder, plus all the review sheets and worksheets, etc., that I will give you in class. So you're going to have a lot of paper material in this course, so you're going to need a space for it all to go in an organized fashion. Of course, you're going to need an eraser, a large one, and pencils. I personally really like the white polymer erasers. I think they erase really well. There's a black kind of oval one that's made also that's really good. Pencils, because it's mathematics, which means we're all going to be making mistakes on a regular basis. So be prepared to erase and make mistakes, because that's just the nature of the beast. I don't particularly like pen. However, if you really want to work with pen, then you better have highlighters ready, and a lot of, or it's not highlighters, whiteout available, and a lot of it, because you're going to have to erase on a regular basis. That's just how it is. Now, a TI-84 calculator is actually required for this course. A TI-83 does not run the newest operating system, which puts students that try to use a TI-83 at a very large disadvantage. So we're just biting the bullet and saying the TI-84 is required. You can sell your TI-83s and buy TI-84s at most pawn shops. You can do it on eBay, Craigslist. You can find TI-84 calculators pretty cheap. There's also a place in town called Disc Traders in Jackson that buys and sells calculators. So that might be another way to go. But you really want a TI-84. It doesn't really matter what edition, color, non-color, silver. I mean, it doesn't matter. As long as it says TI-84, you'll be fine. You'll be able to upgrade to the newest operating system on an 84. Also notice that access to a computer with internet is required for this section of Math 133. We do our homework on MyMathLab, which means you're going to need internet. We have projects that are online as well, at least have an online component as well as Excel component to a couple of the projects. Both of the projects have a little bit of Excel. Actually, the first project has a lot of Excel. And then some quizzes might be put online. We might do that in MyMathLab, so be prepared to have internet access. I'll also send emails, update emails probably once a week, so you'll need to be able to check those emails, although you can do that from your phone. My understanding is that MyMathLab does work off of phones and iPads now. It's, of course, on a phone, it's a little small of a screen to work from, but some students can do that for the short term for answering a question here or there. And of course, school computers can be used to satisfy those requirements. So if you're on North Campus or Central Campus or in Lenawee, Hillsdale, you can use the campus computer that is near you, log in and do whatever you need to do. Just make sure if you're using a school computer that you save it and email it to yourself, or save it to a jump drive, or save it to your Google Drive or something, because you need to have access to it later. And of course, if the computer gets wiped every night, you won't actually have access to anything you worked on during the day. Now, the textbook is not necessarily mandatory. It's an optional thing. We don't really use it directly in class. We use it indirectly a lot, because it's, of course, where my course pack comes from, and it's where the problems come from for MyMathLab, etc. So if I just go grab a course here, I'm just going to randomly pick a 133 course so you can see it. If you click on chapter contents right here, you actually have access through this to the entire textbook. If I just click on multimedia e-text, it'll take it a second. And there it is, the entire textbook at length. So you can flip to any page you want. So let's say I want page 206. And there it is, there's page 206. I can actually go over here and pick out things like the index. I can look for topics, and then I can go back to chapter 10 and say, oh no, I want section 10.3, etc. So you have the entire textbook. You're able to highlight different phrases, you're able to pin different ideas and make notes. You're able to zoom in and zoom out. You can even print a few pages of it, so you don't really need to buy the book. However, if you really want a physical textbook, you're welcome to have one, but we don't really use the physical textbook in class. It's more as a reference material for yourself, for extra examples that we don't use in class, for extra problems, for seeing things in a physical way. That's what the textbook is for. You can buy it used online pretty economically, so I would recommend that. All right, now the course description is that you're going to be learning statistics. You're going to be learning a lot about how to create statistics, how to generate statistics, and how to analyze statistics. So hypothesis testing, probability, frequency distributions, all of this stuff. And if you knew what most of this was, you probably wouldn't be in the class because you would know what everything is already. The prerequisite for the course is you have to have a 2-point, at least at this current point, you have to have a 2-point in Math 033, which is the leader course to this, or any course that is 131 or higher. So if you've passed, pre-calculus, you're fine. If you passed, Math 131, you're fine. Any 100 level course, if you've taken it, then you can take statistics. A lot of people do that because if they're going into any science fields, they're going to need to take statistics, but they also need to take calculus, for example. So we'll frequently have students that have taken calculus in Math 133. That's fine. And if you're coming from Math 033, that's also fine, right? So that just means that you are taking the Algebra for Statistics track. All right, now the course objectives, again, this is a lot of information, but basically it means you're going to be doing a lot of statistics and probability. That's what it means. And if you knew what all of this was, if you knew what, I'm just thinking the Pearson product moment correlation coefficient was, then you probably wouldn't need the course. All right, so then we also need to mention the associate degree outcomes for this course, which are all the things that this course satisfies in order to help you to move towards your associate degree. So when you graduate with an associate's degree, you basically say, hey, I am proficient in these 10 areas or 13 areas, and one of them is demonstrating computational skills and another one is critical thinking. This course will help you advance your goals of getting to that degree by helping you obtain a stronger critical thinking background as well as a stronger mathematical background. And that's what this course is for. So those, and if you're interested in all that, you can read it in the course catalog. It explains about the associate degree outcomes. I'm going to stop right here, and we will come back in the next video for the course requirements, which will be the grades and what all of this means. So let's pause here, and then we'll come back and look at all of the grades and what you're going to have to do in this course. I'll see you then.